I think that was like one of the sleepiest intros we've had.
You know,
welcome to the Nighttime Podcast.
I haven't even gotten that much done this week. Like, here, let me have a look. We use Trello now, which is actually pretty cool. I actually really like it. So we use Trello to track all of our tasks and everything.
Trello is pretty cool.
And so this week, I actually only got like five videos shot, of which I scripted none of them. So, like, on paper, I got not a whole lot done this week. But
big meetings.
I had to have a lot of meetings, and there is something about meetings that just makes you just hate yourself at the end of the day, and then hate yourself some more at the end of the week, and then just when you're done hating yourself, you hate your life, and yeah, meetings suck. So,
and you never know, like, okay, did we cover enough stuff? And then if you do cover new stuff, the new question is, did we cover too many things and waste time?
Yeah.
It's like, ugh.
So, I mean, yeah, I got everything that I needed to. And, like, honestly, the stuff that we did this week was pretty cool. So we finally covered the Porsche design laptop, the EV tablet, that Surface competitor that's, like, a few $100s cheaper.
Okay, wow.
And great build quality, great specs. Comes with the keyboard cover and a stylus. So we got a review done of that.
That's a thing that doesn't happen anymore.
Dell sent us over what has to be the most badass projector that I've yet seen.
Oh, and you're into projectors, so that's cool.
It's HDR, it's laser, it's 5,000 lumens.
Wow.
And it's $4,500, which is a lot of money.
yeah, it is.
Go buy a 100-inch HDR 4K TV.
Yeah, they get quite expensive.
Yeah,
once you get up there and
5,000 lumens. Like, obviously, it's not going to work in a bright room with the sun coming in the way that a TV might.
Yeah.
But in a dim room, but with the blinds up, as the sun was probably going to set in about half an hour, it was super usable, like very usable, even with some of the lights on in the room. So I was super impressed by that.
So if you live up here, it'll just always work great because we don't have sun anymore.
Well, not this time of year.
Yeah.
And then John did a smart Christmas lights roundup.
Okay, I heard about this.
Yes.
How was that?
John was like super into this like 2 months ago. He was like, hey, so I think honestly, I don't think he's bringing any of that stuff back.
I doubt it.
I think he's just keeping it because I think his ulterior motive is that he's just into decoration in a way that I don't think most of the other people here really are. And
he is, yeah.
Yep. And he's into like celebrating festivities.
Yeah.
Yep. Like his tree was up and it was badass when I went over there. And
he's definitely got the festive spirit.
Yeah. So I think he just had an ulterior motive that was he wanted cool, smart Christmas lights, and he figured, hey, if
I know that was part of it.
If I make a video about this, then I'll just keep them.
Yeah.
So we made that video.
How is it though? Like how was it?
Most of them are terrible, as you'd expect. Yeah, so he didn't get a lot of great lights out of it, but he did get a couple of those Philips Hue Goes, which he really liked.
Yeah, I was going to ask, like, did
ones.
Philips make a set? Because their stuff seems to be pretty good.
Yeah, so Philips was the only one that had an app that wasn't total ass.
But it's not like proper Christmas lights, I'm assuming.
No. It's just Philips Hue, but like green and red, which is a thing that Philips Hue does.
Yes.
The last one was we're doing our test build on air cooling in the Corsair Concept Slate, the largest case.
Oh, that.
Not ever, but certainly the largest. Yeah, that thing. Certainly the largest case from a mainstream case manufacturer. Like Mountain Mods has done stuff. Like an Ascension Duality is going to be bigger.
How big is it compared to that huge Fantex case?
You know what? I don't know the Fantex ones.
Okay.
Case Labs has definitely done something bigger. The TX10V or something like that.
Is that like ginormous, like dual ATX? Yeah.
Like just redonkulous case.
That thing's ridiculous.
Like this, from like a normal case manufacturer, like your Corsair, your Thermaltake, your Antac, all those guys. This is the biggest that I've seen. And it's like curved tempered glass and like.
Wow.
Yeah,
I know with cases like this, it's not about selling a whole bunch of them.
No.
But I wonder how many they really think they're going to sell? And I don't mean really in like a derogatory way. Like I wonder like when they're like, okay, let's make this case.
Yeah, like forecasting. You have to do forecasting.
But like, what is the number that
I don't
they
think
decided?
they care.
Probably not. But I wonder, yeah.
I actually don't think they care.
It's just to show off.
I think this one is just, okay, you can't tool a case for less than $500,000.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that much. This one was a lot more than that.
Yeah.
And
curved tempered alone, I'm sure, is like not fun.
They're not going to sell a ton of them because if I had to guess, and I'd be completely guessing, I have no information. If I had to guess, I'd say the Corsair Concept Slate is probably going to cost $500 to $650 US. So like this is not going to be.
I put my hand up to guess and was like
product.
5.
Okay, yeah. So I think we're on the same page there.
Yeah. And I was thinking that or higher, so that works.
I'm just gonna
This
add.
case
Thanks to
is
Corsair
bigger
and
than-
Synergy for sponsoring our
Well,
coverage
it
of
is.
Computex 2017.
I can't really
you
tell,
can check
'cause,
them
like,
both out at the
Jake's not a
link
small
in the
person.
video description. All right, guys, so we're here in the
So yeah, here
Corsair
you go.
suite
So
where they
here's me
have, I would
standing
love to say,
near, I think.
one
Hold on,
of the
This is a side
leaders
panel.
of volume,
God.
of pure
This is it.
enthusiast grade
that's the side
PC
panel.
goodness. To put that
Like,
in
this thing is
perspective,
ridiculous.
compared to the
This was the
Gigabyte
build that
Bricks
they had at
VR,
CES,
which
so
holds
wow.
a quad-core
That's
Core
me next
i7
to
Oh my
processor
God.
right?
and a GTX
Okay, I saw a
1060.
picture of
Like,
this.
it's
This
crazy.
is, I
And
did
I'm
the
in
math
the
ahead of time,
foreground.
but I apparently didn't write it
I
down.
am
But it's a
in
lot
the
more times.
foreground.
I think it's like
Oh man.
Of this.
48 times
head
the internal
compared to-
volume.
Right? I know how
so
big
what
that
on
guy
earth
is.
would
I know.
you do? Right down here at the
So,
bottom, and
anyway,
they've even got a bunch of hardline tubing
Yeah,
in
we're
here
working
showing
on
how
an
you
epic
could
build in this
potentially.
thing. And hopefully we'll do a great job. It's
What's
all on
the like?
Jake, so.
Is it just like a crazy build, or is there like a specific point?
It's like the
Like a streaming?
The powerful one is the workstation.
Okay.
So
Oh, wow.
four quadros.
Yeah.
128 gigs of RAM.
Oh.
18 core processor.
Oh.
Like basically the finest. The absolute best.
Okay.
And then the gaming machine is a capable gaming machine that's like hiding in there. So it's a 7700K with a 1080 Ti
Okay.
and 32 gigs of RAM.
So while your thing is
Yeah.
rendering on your multiple quadros,
Yeah.
you can still game at absolute full
Yeah,
capacity.
yeah. You can get one of Wendell over at Level 1 Techs is
Yes.
releasing his KVMs. I believe they're
Oh.
actually available on the store right now. But he's got 2 different models, and they're DisplayPort KVMs. So we've actually got one of them in. I've been meaning
what,
to do
he's
like an
selling them?
unboxing. Yeah. So
He's making them?
Yeah, it's a product that already existed, but he basically made firmware for it that isn't trash.
That's cool.
So up until now, a DisplayPort KVM has been pretty hard to come by, especially one that isn't total garbage.
Yeah. Okay. That asterisk on the end is
Yeah.
super important.
So it's DisplayPort 1.2. It passes through FreeSync, as far as I know, and he's even gotten it working passing through G-Sync. The tall boy model is $550, but it is a dual monitor KVM.
Okay.
So
right.
you would actually be able to run this. In fact, that's what we should probably do, Jake, in the showcase, like show off video for this one, is we should have 2 monitors, and then you can actually switch between your 2 systems like that.
And it does audio.
Oh yeah, it's like totally badass. It's USB 3. It's like crazy amazing.
What's the so the tall boy
yeah.
model is the dual monitor one.
Yeah,
That's the main difference.
And then there's the quad port single monitor one, so you can switch between 4 different systems. That one's like $330 or something like that.
So you're looking at $396 for the single monitor
Ooh,
setup.
that much. Okay.
And $660 for the
Okay,
tall
so
boy.
I've had the pricing totally wrong. So yeah, there you go. And that's US dollars, by the way.
I mean, they look sick.
Yeah. And for a high plug count KVM, that's actually not unreasonable.
There's some that you can get at quite a bit cheaper, but
Yeah, but they'll suck.
not anywhere close to that feature set.
Yeah, I mean, you can spend that kind of money on VGA KVMs still, depending on the features.
Yeah.
So
People are asking for a link. I'll drop one in chat.
yeah, all right, thanks. All right, why don't we roll the intro? Crap. We have good topics. Trust me.
sponsors.
Hey, if you're logged into Twitch, is there an easy way to get me an authentication thing? Because otherwise I have to go onto the thing and I have to do the whole thing. Oh, all right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. Never mind. Okay, that's fine. I'll deal with it. All right.
I love how I whispered and did hand gestures while we're live on stream.
Yeah.
How's it going?
Sup?
What is? For what? For this?
Yeah.
You don't need that.
I don't need that?
No.
Well, how do I do it? Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure. Are you not logged in?
No.
Try to log in.
This is a new laptop.
Okay, try to log in.
I already did.
What?
What? Oh, wait. Okay, hold on. I got this. Okay. Cool. Okay, you know what? We'll get back to you on that. Actually, we won't at all, so don't worry about it. Okay, so the iMac Pro. This was originally posted by Red Round 2. I'm posting the link in the Twitch chat now. The original article is from 9 to 5 Mac. And apparently, it's going to feature an A10 Fusion processor inside. So, oh, wow, that's weird.
What?
Is the... Oh, hold on.
Oh.
That was close. Can I has?
I mean, it would have just shown the topic.
So I'm actually working on my oh yeah, it does. Good, cool. I'm working on my review of the new Blade Stealth. This is the quad-core model.
Okay.
So I'm super stoked on this thing so far, actually.
Wow, you didn't just include it in your other Blade review?
No.
Wow.
Why would I do that?
Wow.
What?
Just milking videos?
What are you talking about?
Wow.
You're drunk.
Way to go.
You're drunk.
They're both Blades. You should include it in the same video. I shouldn't have to watch 2 different videos for Blades.
And you know what? I can't be milking it because it's obviously going to get demonetized because it has the word Blade in it. So
wait, did that happen?
No. Well, okay, yes, but not
We got
recently.
it back. Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was like 6 years ago. Back when I did an unboxing of the original Razer Blade, I had some keywords in the description about Razer's Switchblade interface, which at the time I said I didn't think made a ton of sense, and it got butt canned so fast. You remember that thing, right? With the displays behind the programmable buttons? Yeah. It was just so expensive, and nobody cared.
It was pretty bad.
It also was buggy.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it got demonetized, and I had to appeal it.
I filmed that video.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yep. So that was a long time ago.
I remember it.
And neither of us edited it because we didn't edit videos back then. Okay, so the iMac Pro to feature A10 Fusion coprocessor, possibly for always-on Hey Siri. You know, okay, so I've got a couple things to say here. Number one is that I was super confused when I read the headline for this, and I was like, oh, an A10 Fusion coprocessor. And I was like, oh, that's weird. Why would they put an APU in there?
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought too.
Because AMD has their lineup of A10 APUs, and then Fusion was what AMD was calling what they were gonna call their CPU, GPU hybrid products that just ended up being APUs, but there was really nothing hybrid about them. They were just CPUs with onboard graphics. Anyway, Fusion was the branding that they were going to use for that. And I was like, oh, yeah, A10 Fusion. And because I don't follow Apple as closely as I follow PC stuff, like, yes, you know, A11 Bionic, A10 Fusion, I'm sure that lots of Apple people would have gone...
It makes complete sense.
Oh, an A10 Fusion like the, you know, iPhone 7. But I didn't, and I'm dumb, and you can all have a nice little laugh at me. And anyway... So point number one is I got confused, haha. And point number two is that I think this is great.
Yeah, I mean, sure, it's going to handle smaller, more different tasks, like hosting Hey Siri always on. So you would just be able to say Hey Siri to your computer.
Yep.
Which would be cool, I guess, if you're
This
into
would be
that.
a first.
There's so many mics in our houses now, it's kind of ridiculous, but, you know, whatever.
Not in mine, but...
You're already being monitored by, wow.
Oh, yeah, I mean, phone, yes.
Yeah.
Phone, yes.
Yeah.
Hey Siri, no.
Yeah.
Well, wait.
You probably have one on you.
No, I do not have an iPhone on me right now.
You usually do, though.
I usually do. It was a good guess.
And is that a smartwatch?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know if it has a mic.
But a lot of them do.
I actually
and you
haven't
swap
used
it quite often.
That's true.
A lot of mics.
This is the Pro Trek. It's actually kind of cool. We did like a sponsored spot for it, but I'm not being paid to wear it right now.
Okay.
I like it.
Cool.
It's got 2 screens. So this is a dumb screen.
Oh, is it an overtop? Okay, yeah.
Yeah!
Remember when these first came out and we were both talking about how this is how they would have to do it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so cool because
That makes
when
a lot
it
of sense.
dies, it lasts for like another month and a half.
Yeah.
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 And it's just a watch. And like
makes
honestly,
tons of sense.
I get so many notifications that it's impractical to manage them from my wrist anyway. So but I got back in the habit of wearing a watch.
Well, yeah,
So
and
I'm wearing a watch now, basically.
And that's cool because, like, I don't know, if
Yeah.
it is charged, sweet. You get some
Yeah.
notifications on your wrist. If it's not
Sweet.
charged, whatever.
Yeah, like I can tell someone's calling me when I leave my phone at my
It's
desk. Or
not
whatever.
a useless thing strapped to your wrist.
Right.
Which is cool. I like
Right.
that.
Yeah.
That's
So
pretty neat.
I'm pretty
down.
into it. But anyway, I'm glad they're doing this either way because this has been a thing that has confused me for a number of years. Why is it that there is anything that this can do that my laptop and my desktop can't? That's so stupid.
Yeah.
So, I mean, to add to that list, why does my laptop not have GPS? It would be great and I know they can tell where your laptop is. In fact, we have
Yeah.
a great tech quickie coming on how they know where your laptop is.
It can do that pretty well.
It can do that really well, which is swell, but that won't necessarily help with like a Find My Laptop feature, for example.
Right.
As it is, those all those all rely on the same Wi-Fi positioning that your Google Maps would, for example.
But this coprocessor isn't going to give your...
No,
your,
it wouldn't.
no.
I'm just adding to my list of things that
Okay.
every device should just support, and for some reason they don't.
Right, but every device isn't going to have a SIM card.
Okay, well, there's another great question. Why the actual hell does every device not have somewhere that I can pop a SIM card?
Yeah, it probably should. Especially because... And it should be more standard for... phone companies to just like, I don't know, charge you $5 for the SIM, but not charge you anything on top of that monthly.
Right.
The monthly fee shouldn't go up. You should pay for the hardware because
Yeah.
they have to ship it or whatever. But
Like, I just don't get it.
yeah.
How is this not obvious?
Yeah,
You know,
it would be really sick if I could have a SIM in my laptop, my phone, my Switch.
Yeah.
Like everything. And
Why
it all
not?
just pulls from my one pool of available data.
I have like other stuff on my list. I can't remember for the life of me right now what. Yeah, I mean, okay, biometrics took forever and are still taking forever on laptops and desktops, whereas they've been standard on mobile devices for about 3 years now.
Yeah, like Windows Hello is a thing,
Yep.
but that's
Not
very
standard.
recent and not standard.
And not standard at all.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a bunch of stuff like that I just look at and I'm kind of going, well, why? Why can phones do this? And for some reason, we aren't building this functionality into other devices. It drives me crazy. The LG Gram Gen 3, that just rolled in.
Okay.
And it's got this jank-tastic fingerprint scanner on the top left of the trackpad that is not touch sensitive. So you can just like run over it and like your touchpad doesn't work there. And I'm sitting here going, like we've had Touch ID / fingerprint scanners built into everything from side buttons to back buttons to front buttons to frickin' why? They don't even cost much. You look at the teardowns for these phones. Okay, and to be clear, I don't think it's as simple as if the BOM cost for a phone, like the iPhone 10 is rumored to be what, $330, $340, $370, whatever it is. It's somewhere in the $250 to $350 range, something like that. And to be clear, I'm not saying, oh, well, then it should be $499, because unlike some people, I do understand that there's a lot of costs associated with bringing a product to market, including the long-term support of said product, something that Apple does generally pretty well.
And like literally $0 inclusion cost for all of the operating system and software.
Yes. Okay, so right. So that's the
Like,
thing.
you know.
I'm also not saying they're not making enough money. Like they're clearly doing
making
okay.
a lot of money.
But my point is that when you look at these teardowns, the kinds of parts that I'm complaining about, I'm not even asking necessarily for a cellular radio to be built into the device. I'm asking, why the actual crap, we didn't have a standard created 5 to 8 years ago where every motherboard just has a spot where you can plug it in. Why don't we have a couple, like we're talking little tiny copper wires for antennas to have a way to add this functionality.
Very easily be built into the screen.
And it does exist. It's just something that's really not very common. And another example.
And it actually used to be more common.
Another example is something like, it did too, back when like express cards were a thing.
Yeah.
And clearly it went away because there wasn't a ton of demand for it. But cell phone plans used to be exorbitantly expensive.
Yeah, to be able to have something like data was like nigh unheard of. Like, yeah, it was almost non-existent. And someone in the chat has actually brought up, I lost the comment now, I'm sorry, but they said family plan SIM grouping. I've heard that it's way more common in the States. And it's starting to definitely be a thing in Canada, but it's still not like a default thing.
No, and like
it's
even
pretty kludgy.
The plans, even if they exist, and you can get them for businesses as well. The plans, even if they exist, don't have device support. So it's like I can't just pop a SIM in my Blade Stealth, which I should be able to.
Yeah.
So my point then is that on a $1,000 device or a $1,400 device, I think this one's a 512 gig. I think this is about a $1,600 device. I think they could have absorbed a slot for a SIM card. I think they could have absorbed a fingerprint scanner that isn't trash and that sits under a touch-sensitive surface like a trackpad. And you know what? I think they probably also could have absorbed. You look at how much the camera sensors cost for even a rear camera on a cell phone.
Yeah.
It is a trivial amount. Why is every webcam not as good as like the OnePlus 5T's rear camera? Why?
And like,
what's the excuse?
Laptop cameras are actually like disgustingly bad, and laptop mics,
they could be a lot better.
Man.
So, yeah, I guess that's it. I was mad. Now I've got it out of my system. I'll get mad about it again at some point, but I'm over it for now.
Yeah.
What else do we have
Pretty
for
rough.
topics today? Okay, yeah. Why don't we do this before the sponsors? Oh boy. Intel finds critical holes in secret
brutal
management engine. So this was posted by Cubes the Gamer on the forum. I'm going to pull up the original article from the Register, and I think Luke's probably better qualified to go through.
Well, this is some pretty ridiculous stuff.
Why this is a big deal.
It's fairly self-explanatory. There's firmware level bugs that allow logged in administrators or some other people. You can access it over the network, which is extremely scary. Logged in administrators and high privilege processes, so programs, doesn't have to be a user, to run code beneath the operating system to spy on or meddle with the computer completely out of sight of other users or admins. Now that's not the only scary part. Because it's going onto the processor, you can access things that are in memory. So you can like screw with other programs, and you can take things from other programs. So
now,
meanwhile,
hold on, can I jump in and ask a question?
Oh dear.
I'm going to ask a dumb question. Okay. Now, typically, something like a password. In a perfect world, in a perfectly coded website and/or piece of software,
it has to be moved around. But at some points in time,
it would stay encrypted theoretically end to end. But in practice,
there is sometimes, while it's being moved around, where it might not be encrypted for a jump.
Got it.
It should be encrypted the whole time.
So if something has access to memory, it can grab stuff that would otherwise be impossible.
I think so. And what could be really bad about that is you could change something.
Right.
So while a program's running, you could change something that's in memory. Crashing it in a really special way, or like altering something that is.
Right. So it's an exploit that opens up the potential for many other exploits.
Yeah, I have obviously never screwed with something like this before, but it's pretty brutal. Here we go. There, direct quote. The flaws could allow an attacker to impersonate the ME, SPS, or TXE mechanisms. That's referring to management engine, service platform services, or trusted execution engine, which is a great name right now. Thereby invalidating local security features, like what you were just talking about. Load and execute arbitrary code outside of the visibility of the user and the operating system. This is where some of the special caveats
so it's
come
like
from.
Your antivirus
get owned. So you can crash affected systems extremely easily this way. Brutal. The things affected are 6th generation, 7th generation, and 8th generation Intel Core processors.
This is a long list.
Intel
Get ready.
Xeon E3 1200 V5 and V6 processors, Intel Xeon Scalable processors, Intel Xeon W processors, Intel Atom C3000 processors, Apollo Lake Intel Atom E3900 series processors, Apollo Lake Intel Pentiums, Celeron N, and Celeron J series processors.
And Ryzen 7. No, I'm just kidding. It's all Intel.
Owned.
Oh boy.
The holes can also be exploited by network administrators. This was the part that I really didn't like. The rest of them are pretty brutal. The fact that there can be an attack vector
It's all brutal.
that
I mean,
it's all brutal.
we're talking like AIDS birthday cake. Like, does it really matter what slice you take?
The problem that I have with this is
Okay, go ahead.
it's quite easy to social engineer your way onto someone's Wi-Fi.
Right.
It's been proved so many times that in so many different situations you can get onto someone's Wi-Fi pretty easily. Whether you overhear someone asking for a password or if you just, oh man, I really need to do whatever. Oftentimes people will let you on the Wi-Fi, and then getting up to administrator access. Usually not the hardest thing once you're already on the network. Anyways, exploited by network administrators or people masquerading as admins, like I just said, to remotely infect machines with spyware and invisible rootkits. Oh God!
Wow.
It's not good. It's really bad.
Okay.
Yeah. People are asking for the link. I'll drop the link.
Yeah. So far, I don't think Intel has a plan to deal with this.
It's a firmware level thing, so
Yeah. So at the best case scenario is they might be able to patch this via a BIOS update.
which is a terrible solution.
Because understand this too. This is fun. Not every BIOS update updates ME.
Yeah.
Okay, and in fact, I ran into an issue a little while back where I forget what exactly the problem was. Oh man, there's this thing with, I think it's Asus, not Asus. It's I think it's with Z170 boards. I think it's that generation. Can't remember exactly. Anyway, the point is that you have to do like some kind of CPU juggling in order to first flash. So you have to go back to like an old CPU to flash the ME. I think you actually have to do something in OS. Then you have to pop that. Then you have to put in a new one. You have to flash the BIOS with that. Then you have to like put in the old one. Like it's some stupid juggling act. I wish I could remember, but I wasted like 3 hours of my time a while back. Do you remember?
87 to 97.
87 to 97. Is that right? Z87, Z9. No, it's all of them. Asus just has it documented, so you know what to do. Anyway, the point is, I believe the issue there was that ME couldn't be updated while you had the one CPU, but it could for the other. The point is, best case scenario, they can update this with a BIOS flash. But that relies on a number of things. It relies on the manufacturer of the actual motherboard to do something with, okay, it relies on Intel to provide a fix. It relies on the manufacturer to do something with that fix. It relies on the manufacturer to communicate to the end user that they need to apply that fix. It relies on the end user
Being able to run a BIOS update.
to be able to run a BIOS update.
That's like the worst.
I mean, we're talking stuff going back to 6th gen. I mean, there's stuff for, I mean, especially when when you start getting into like OEM systems like Dells and HPs, there are systems that are not that simple to run a BIOS update on. Like when you consider that the average user is intimidated by pressing delete and being presented with all these scary options.
Someone in the chat brought
Yeah.
up like processes can edit memory for other processes. Yeah, I know that's already a thing, but this is undetectable by the operating system, which is like the reason why it
So
scares
it can do it
me.
without permission.
And it, like it's that's a whole nother level. And you can screw with things without being caught, and a lot of things are going to be caught by Windows.
Okay, so I'm not done yet. It relies on the end user to be arsed to go and deal with it, because for someone who doesn't know how to update a BIOS, there's probably, let's say conservatively, an hour of their life that they have to set aside to learn about this issue, figure out how to do it, and actually do it. There's going to be, okay, I know that it's unlikely, but any machines that, experience a power loss during this update, well, they're going to be bricked. They're going to need to be replaced. So there's going to be a service cost associated with this. Like, this is terrible.
I'd love to hear Wendell talk about this.
And his KVM.
We brought Wendell up on this stream. So I just
man.
thought about him. That would be cool.
So,
because this to me seems really bad, mainly because you're going below OS level. So you can do essentially whatever the hell you want. That's the scary thing for me. You can screw with other programs. You can make it look like other programs are doing the thing that you're doing. That's the stuff that's freaking me out. But I really wonder what someone like Wendell thinks.
Yeah, and I'm just sitting here looking at the business side of things going, this will not get fixed.
Yeah.
Like that is the truth.
Yeah.
There will be many, many millions of PCs out there that will be affected by this forever.
Pretty much. How often do people update their BIOS? In like the people that are watching this,
Yeah.
and like the people that are at this table.
Actually, I have a Saturday night calendar reminder.
I get
That's
some wine and some cheese and update my BIOS. It's
What
not
accent
that
was
common.
that?
I don't know. It was like 3 different ones all
terrible.
at once.
It had a little bit of French, some wine.
And then I switched immediately
Yeah.
after that. It's not common. I would almost bet that probably above 80% of motherboards never receive one. Random statistic that I just pulled out of my butt, but it's probably pretty high.
All right. So, in other news, if your computer is doomed, but at least you want somewhere to put your butt that's comfortable, then there's always Need for Seat. Woo! Need for Seat USA sells quality ergonomic computer, office, and PC gaming chairs to the US and Canada, and they now offer embroidery. Check that out. Linus at Linus Tech Tips. Luke at Float Play Media. You're going to need a new one. Custom embroidery on many Maxnomic chair models in the Pro Gaming, Office Comfort, and XL Series sections. So the embroiderer is in-house, so the turnaround time is just a couple days, and they've got a preview tool on their website that allows you to type in a name and get a preview image. Logo embroidery can be requested through email at support@needforseatusa.com, and honestly, these guys are awesome. We've been working with them a long time, and I've had my butt sitting on one of their chairs for over 3 years now.
Yeah, a long time.
And it is exactly like the day I started using it.
They do. I will definitely give them that. They have quite the durability going.
Yeah, the foam that they use is like I forget what they call it. It's like a cold molded foam or whatever. The point is that it doesn't just sink in and then sink in more, and then eventually, like my Costco chair that I threw away, eventually you're just sitting on a piece of plywood.
Yeah, that's my current situation at home.
So for Black Friday, they're offering $75 off the purchase of any Maxnomic chair with code TURKEY75, all caps, valid until November 29th. So go check that out. You know what? Let's do GFuel first. Whoop. Okay, I'm going for the no-look pass. You ready?
Yep.
Oh, was I gonna hit myself? Was that a good throw?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on, I got one more coming. You ready?
Yep.
You ready?
Yep.
You ready?
Yep.
Okay.
Why are you freaking out?
Well, I don't know. I thought maybe I was throwing them.
They were all like perfect. They all landed like right here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I was so confused. I was like, "What are you scared of?"
I felt like I kind of went too far up and it was going to come right down and hit me on the head. Anyway, GFuel is the sugar-free powdered energy drink mix currently available in 18 flavors created by Gamma Labs, with the goal being to create an alternative to sugar-loaded canned energy drinks. So mission accomplished because there's no sugar and it doesn't come in a can. Right?
Yeah, no.
I mean, if that's the mission.
That makes sense.
Anyway, how it
Good
works
job.
is you choose your fuel, so you select your drink mix, you get delivery, and it's fast. They ship it to you. You add water. You mix it into a glass or shaker cup filled with 16 ounces of water and enjoy. Boom! It comes in tubs, boxes containing single-serve packs, or the single-serve packs themselves. There are actually a lot of people here at the office that, as far as I can tell, if they stopped eating food altogether, would still have enough energy to get through the day because they drink so much GFuel.
Talking about you, John.
Yeah, John, Colton.
Yeah.
Colton drinks so much GFuel.
Does Ed still?
I'm pretty sure Ed still drinks it. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, but the thing with Ed is I'm pretty sure he would drink anything that gives him a rush.
Yeah.
Like, and nothing, like it's nothing against GFuel. It's just that I don't think he's that picky. So for it's like turpentine would help him like work faster. For Black Friday, they're featuring a buy one tub, get one free sale. It's valid till November 26th, so you've only got a couple of days. Go check it out at gfuel.com. All right, bringing us to our last. Are we like glitching out here? No, it looks okay. Bringing us to our last sponsor of the day, Savage Jerky. And there's headphones in here. Wow. Free
Nice ones, too.
QC15s. Thanks, Brandon. Is that the trick?
Brandon just slowly
He
comes
was
over.
mowing down on the Savage Jerky before the show, even though he knows he's not supposed to. And I think as penance. No, it's mine now. No. This is penance. No.
He trained.
All right.
That's the best way to get things from Linus. Just take something else that he has that he wants more.
I'm wussing out today, and I'm just going for my favorite.
Okay.
I'm going for the maple buffalo bacon.
All right.
So Savage Jerky. The goal was to create a snack that was full of flavor and spice that wasn't bad for you. They've got 13 different flavors of jerky, and personal favorites include the maple buffalo bacon. The what's that green one I really like?
Moho.
The moho.
This stuff is the best. It's I don't know.
What's the classic?
Traditional.
The traditional. The traditional is really good. And then if you're into mouth melting, not just jerkies, they've also got barbecue sauces, but they make jerkies out of like ghost peppers, Carolina Reaper peppers. They have some pretty.
I'm gonna do the ghost pepper one.
You're
I'm
do
gonna
ghost pepper
I'm
today?
gonna take a mojo one first.
You can't enjoy the mojo after the ghost
Exactly.
pepper.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go mojo first, and then I'm gonna do ghost pepper.
Tell you what, after I've had some maple buffalo bacon, I'll do ghost pepper too. Solidarity.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Anyway, offer code BF2017 to save 20% on their products all this weekend, and all orders placed using that code, you'll get a free cozy as well. I was calling it koozie before because I didn't actually know what it was. It's one of those things that goes on your drink that keeps it warm or cold, as it were. Insulating sleeve.
So, I don't think it's in the doc, but
Yeah.
the chat is.
What do they want us to talk about?
I'll use a light term of aggravated.
Because we're not talking about net neutrality?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't see it in the doc.
No, it's not in there. Honestly, the reason that it's not in there, and the reason that we haven't made a video, is that we already made a video. We've already talked about it before. Hold on. I mean, the cynic in me is kind of looking at everybody jumping on this bandwagon, going like, are you just out for views? Like, why do you only care now when it's trendy? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's not like that. But I just posted a video in the Twitch chat.
It's more than trendy right now. It's like coming up again.
I know that. I know that the debate is sort of on right now. But here's the problem. So we already did that video that I posted 2 years ago.
It's quite good, by the way.
And there's nothing that we didn't already say. Net neutrality is good. You should care. If you don't understand that for whatever reason, then I'm sorry.
We can't. Yeah, basically. If we can't do this because we're in Canada and it's not an issue up here because, but if you're in the States, you should be contacting local representatives. Mm-hmm. There's what's the website? Fight for the Net or something. Sorry, this wasn't a prepped topic. Fight for the Net. Battleforthenet.com.
Okay.
You can go on there.
That's funny because it's BattleNet. I'll drop it in the chat.
There's a contact them button, which I'm pretty sure if you put in like your information, it like helps you reach out to congressmen and representatives
And congresswomen and Congress, whatever they identify as.
Yes.
Because we didn't assume anything.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. We're treading on a sensitive topic right now, so let's make sure let's make sure nobody melts.
But this website is a good resource for a ton of different stuff. If you're looking for more information on it, Reddit is all over this.
We've got some people upset because I basically said anyone who doesn't understand that it's good needs to get themselves reevaluated. I think there are better ways to fix the internet than through regulation. That's nice, but the problem is that this regulation exists to fix other regulation. So unless you want to actually deregulate, which nobody's calling for.
No.
Wow, really? Unless you want to actually deregulate, then nothing can be done. And if you were to actually fully deregulate everything, it would create a whole host of other problems as well. Because one of the only reasons that smaller ISPs and smaller telcos can exist is the fact that this copper that was in Canada, I believe it was, so here in BC, I'm more familiar with our local stuff, you'll have to forgive me, but
this is one of the reasons why we don't talk about it too much.
Yeah, it would have been BC Tel back in the day.
Yeah.
And they were the ones who owned all the copper because they were the ones who existed before the friggin' internet.
And only certain people are allowed to put down copper because you're using government land to put the copper down.
I mean, the last thing that you want is, like, I've been to developing countries where the telephone poles are literally just covered in every random wire, and people, like, I saw people, they're not wearing safety vests, they don't have a truck with a logo on it, they're just, like, up there, like, running stuff.
Yeah.
That's actually a problem, too.
It's a huge problem.
You have to regulate this stuff. There is no removing all the regulation. And the regulation that is net neutrality exists to counter the other regulation that has to exist that creates unfair advantages for certain companies. That's all there is to it. There is no debate. The only debate is who's getting paid. So there you go.
So there's people in chat that are like, you clearly haven't a clue what AGPI's intentions are. No, we know what's going on. We're on your side. Stop it. I don't...
Like, honestly, we are on your side, because it actually does matter. Like, even though we're Canadian and this doesn't theoretically affect us...
It super does.
It does, because so much of our infrastructure, and the world's for that matter, is reliant on what the regulations are for the internet in the United States. Not to mention that the Canadian government has a long and proud history of just kind of looking south at what's going on and kind of going, okay, that looks all right.
Apparently that won't happen, at least with our current guy.
Yeah, but, there's always...
what happens next.
Who knows who gets elected next?
Yeah.
And stuff. So, there you go. You're Canadian, I'm out.
Later.
Anyway. So that's all I have to say on it. Do you have anything to add?
Well, one of my big things is
Jerky.
A lot of people bring up the idea of like internet fast lanes, and like when you go to battleforthenet.com, there's like a FACO loading icon at the top and stuff. That's not the only problem. In countries where this isn't a thing, where they don't have net neutrality set up, there's been some screenshots going around of like, I don't remember which country it was, but the second you try to open a browser, it redirects you to a page. And it's essentially a microtransaction store for being able to access websites. And you get like a certain amount of data or a certain amount of time on a certain website, and you have to buy it with like coins that you have for that website. It's beautifully garbage. And the issue that comes up with this is like I had to scroll down the list for a while to find Facebook Messenger, because there's so many websites that people use these days that are super mainstream, including games and all these other kind of things that you don't realize that some of the things that you use might fall down below other stuff. And someone says Tunnel Bear. Yeah, that's great, except that VPN traffic works because the ISP lets everything through.
The ISPs know that it's VPN traffic.
They just have to let it through. If it's now on a whitelist system, they'll just block all of that, so get owned.
Or slow it down.
Yeah. In some situations, though, you can block it.
Yeah, they'll go, oh, you're encrypted. I don't like it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Whatever it is, I don't care.
I don't know with the American specific version if they'll be able to block websites, but like there was an issue up here, and I don't know what actually happened with it, but TELUS, a local ISP, TELUS decided to block the website of a union.
Saying, I can't support you guys anymore if you support Pi.
We're not supporting
What did we
Pi.
say that sounded like we were
high?
not in favor of net neutrality?
I know it's legal in a lot of places, but hold off on the reefer for a moment. They're like, like I don't know where that came from unless you're super stoned. There's issues with small business right now. We are in like Amazon's North America. I know Facebook is huge. I know Apple is huge. I know all these other companies are huge. We are in Amazon's North America, and Amazon is gobbling up small business. There's a lot of small business that still exists on the web, whether that's brick and mortar that do a lot of work through the web or advertise through the web or have a website where people can see all their stuff, whatever. All of that is going to get less traffic if it's slow and crappy or if you have to pay to access it than other things. This will extremely damage small business.
Yeah. So there you go. Apparently I'm faking it. I don't know what I'm faking. It's not an orgasm, though. If I was faking that, you'd know. It would be really convincing. All right, let's move on to the next topic, shall we?
Wouldn't you not know then?
Well, no, you'd know that I was doing something.
Right.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
You'd know something was going on. The original article here...
I don't like the obscene pitchforking. I don't understand at all how anyone thought that we were defending. Like, what are you doing? Like, fight with reason, guys. Come on.
Yeah. Well, when you don't have it, you gotta reach for whatever weapons in the arsenal.
Like, I'm happy that you happen to be fighting for the same side that I'm on, but like, come on, use your brain a little bit.
Okay, fine. Last thing I'll mention is that some people were pointing out that those Portugal screenshots were a little bit misrepresentative of what was going on. And that may be true, but it actually changes nothing about any of this.
And I'm not super surprised.
Because the only answer is treating the internet like a utility.
Yeah.
That's the only one. Okay.
Phone lines are great.
So BGR teases a potential Galaxy X, a bendable phone. Wow.
Also, one thing that I want to say on that topic.
Oh, man.
If that Portugal screenshot thing is
I'm eating more of this.
Fake, don't share it. Fake news stuff is not going to help your argument.
Yeah, it doesn't help anybody. Fake news is actually bad.
It hurts your argument. You're going to get caught and you're going to look like an idiot. Anyways, moving forward.
So the Galaxy X looks nothing like the iPhone X, so that's cool. What do we have here in terms of leaks? We know that it's supposed to be bendable.
Yeah.
They've been trying to work on this for years now. Bendable displays have been considered kind of like a sort of a holy grail of futuristic technology. Yeah, bendable battery?
Yeah. The bendable display, we've seen at like weird conferences. You've seen people doing it for a while. The bendable battery drives, that's very interesting for me.
So a support page went up on Samsung's website for an SMG 888N0. No information on what it is, but that model number has been associated with Galaxy X many times in the past. It already received various certifications from regulators, wow, including the Wi-Fi Alliance and Bluetooth SIG. So, the rumor is that the device will be so complicated to manufacture that it might see a limited launch before Samsung is able to produce it en masse. So this is something Samsung's done before, just doing a limited release in South Korea, for example, and then figuring out when, if ever, to roll it out to the rest of the world at a later date. I personally think that this is going to be a really interesting device because for the first time in, I don't know, the last... Okay. You'll have to forgive me if I've missed a bunch in between, because there have been big chunks of time when I haven't really paid much attention to mobile phones. But the last time that I remember a phone that was really sold based on being a fashion statement, aside from Apple, because Apple does position their phone that way, but they do it subtly. Like they try to sell you FaceTime, or that you're gonna do epic kickflips or whatever, and your friends are gonna record you in slow mo. It's gonna be like awesome, dude. Like it's more of like a lifestyle brand. Whereas the last phone that I remember that was really about how cool it looks and how cool you're gonna look when you use it was the Motorola Razr.
Yeah.
That sound
That
about
phone
right?
was absolutely about that.
That was what it was all about.
I don't think anyone actually cared about any other part of it.
No. So, I mean, it was a pain to use. It was like actually too thin.
I never had one.
Yeah, so I never had one either, but like I touched one. I was like,
Yeah.
this is super dumb.
Yeah.
So this, since then, would be maybe, if not the first, the best example I've seen, because I don't think this thing's going to be powerful. I don't think it's going to be powerful, and I think it's going to have to not be powerful because they're going to have to make compromises on things like battery life. I don't think the display is necessarily going to be the highest resolution because this is brand new manufacturing technology we're talking about. So I think this is going to be the phone that is pure fashion statement. And it's going to finally happen where phones have gotten powerful enough for most people that you'll be able to produce something with very mainstream specs. And that's what I think this will have. That is just cool.
And that's actually quite exciting because I was talking to someone about this, I think it was literally last night, about how phones have gotten to the point where like they're all pretty much the same. There isn't really a lot going on. Like the craziest thing that happened was Apple released like a really weird phone. And like they like turned the camera thing, which was a fashion thing related to Razer, like you were talking about earlier, or the what was it called? That really thin phone.
The Motorola Razr?
Motorola Razr. Yeah. Okay. I was just making sure that I didn't pull that name out of my butt. But like it's mostly a fashion phone with like weird face recognition stuff, and that's not that surprising. And Samsung going in a similar location is actually with the same name, which is hilarious. Is probably good. Because in terms of internals, there's not a lot going on. They all have the same freaking processor. They're all running the same freaking stuff. It's become boring, the battle for the inside of the phone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's I've reviewed a lot of phones in the last couple of months, and they've all been pretty similar.
Yeah. So doing something interesting with the body of the phone is
stoked.
Cool. That's awesome. That's like exactly what they should have moved into next.
You know what's not awesome? This segue into something that's not awesome. Posted by Dr. Macintosh on the forum. The original article is from QZ.com.
So that could have been a good segue.
Except I ruined it.
You just intentionally trashed it.
Google admits that they've been collecting Android users' locations even when location services are disabled. Oops. What? Oopsie daisies. So they've said that they didn't use the location data they collected using this service. They never used or stored it, and the company is now taking steps to end the practice. This is a quote. By the end of November, Android phones will no longer send cell tower location data to Google, at least as part of this particular service, which consumers cannot disable. So what was going on for a while was even if you disabled location services, didn't use apps, and didn't have a SIM card, Android phones would be gathering your location data based on cell towers and transmitting it back to Google. And this is since the beginning of 2017.
So you basically, at this point, like we're going to continue talking about this, but at this point, from the topic that we haven't talked about yet, which is the Uber topic, where they like leaked an obscene amount of user data, didn't report it for like a year, and paid hackers to cover it up. To
This doesn't look nearly as bad as that.
Well, are you sure?
Well, okay, if we believe Google's story about this, then it's not nearly as bad as that. Because what they're saying is, in January this year, and it's only been this year, and they're saying that,
so it's only been an entire year.
They're saying that we looked into using cell ID codes as an additional signal to further improve the speed and performance of message delivery. We never incorporated it into the network sync system, so the data was immediately discarded. And
okay.
So, like,
I don't know if I trust that, but sure.
So yeah, the idea was they were using the addresses of multiple towers to triangulate a phone's location, something that they apparently weren't doing before.
Basically, what I was saying is, if you want any form of privacy, just don't use electronic devices.
And don't know anyone who uses electronic devices.
Yeah, or that are connected to anything.
Yeah.
I should say. If they're not connected to anything, you're good.
Yeah. So why don't we get into the Uber thing?
Yeah. Oh my God.
This is actually kind of trash. Uber paid hackers to delete stolen data on 57 million people. I mean, at least they paid the ransom. This was posted by Blue Chinchilla Eating Dorito on the forum, and the original article here is from Bloomberg.
What garbage.
What? Is it just me, or did Uber not position themselves as like the good guy new age company that was gonna like be like better guys than all the taxi
threw
mafia?
that into the garbage can and then threw gasoline on top of it and then threw like TNT on top of it and then threw all that into a furnace and we're just like, yeah! That's basically what Uber's done.
What are they doing? I thought okay, so there's a lot of people really excited about being able to tip through Uber. I'm not. And you wanna know why? Because I thought the entire point of this, I thought the entire point of Uber was that we were doing away with the things that were wrong with the cab industry. And that's that you never know how much to pay. Cabbies are jerks if you don't tip them really well. I've legitimately had my bags thrown on the ground because I didn't tip enough. And I thought that they were supposed to pay the drivers adequately such that that wasn't going to be an issue anymore. And see, I didn't think the idea was that they were gonna like nickel and dime the drivers to the point where then they go, oh, you know what? Actually, the boatloads of money that we're making, oh, you know what? We're not going to give those to the driver. Could you top them up? Actually, you the passenger? Like, yeah, why don't you top them up? Let's do it the way the cabbies did it. Are you kidding me?
And it drives me kind of nuts because I really liked that as well. I like not having to deal with that. But I would have rather paid more natively and not had to tip.
Me too.
Because now I'm in this weird situation where I know that they're not getting... We don't have Uber here, so I've literally only ran into this once since the tip update came out.
Yeah. So it's not cheaper anymore at all.
No.
And you still have to tip.
And you have to tip. And like, so you legitimately feel like a jerk if you don't tip.
Yep.
Because they're not getting paid enough. Which is just like a thing. Uber drivers are not paid very well. So, what? Can you just charge me more? So I don't have to do that? Oh.
Like, tipping is actually dumb.
I hate tipping.
And you know
I want everyone to make the right amount of money, and
yeah.
I want to pay you more for things, and I want to not tip. It's the same thing with loot boxes. Like, this is a not great opinion. I wish games costed more.
Really?
This is a super unpopular opinion.
Tell me more. I wish I had popcorn at this point, but I'll settle for more jerky.
Like everyone in the chat is currently loading firearms to attack me.
Sure. Yeah, you're
Price
so
of games haven't gone up in a long time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think a SNES game was about $50.
They've been pretty similarly priced for a long time.
And that was 20. Wow.
And there's arguments for the other side, like you don't even sell freaking physical games anymore, so it should probably cost less. Yeah, but there's a lot of risk involved with making a game.
Yep, it's also more expensive to make a game these days.
It's also way more expensive. Way more to make a game these days. Indie studios are taking huge risk on games and then are not expected to charge more than like $20 for a game.
Yep, because they're indie.
A lot of indie games are like $15, $25. I would... And to compensate these things, and you can all say whatever the heck you want. You can tell me I'm wrong. You can tell me no, digital distribution is cheaper. You can tell me no, there's more gamers now. You can tell me no, there's more mainstream gamers now, meaning that a lot more games are being purchased in general. Yeah, sure, say whatever you want. They're compensating for the fact that they're not increasing the price of the game with loot boxes and other weird, crappy things like cosmetic purchasing. Now, with certain games, in my opinion, it makes sense. Sure, League of Legends is free. You can buy skins. That's great. Sounds good. Have fun, League of Legends and games like that are free games that sell some skins. I don't really care about that. With something like Destiny 2. In Destiny 2, I paid full price for the game. I have to pay for every freaking little damn DLC thing that they want to release for every single little boss.
Impeach Luke.
That they want to keep going. And... there's the Bright Engram store, where you buy randomized loot boxes that give you cosmetic items. Back in the day, you would play the game to get the freaking cosmetic items, and it actually dilutes from the game. This is something that I don't think...
questing? Isn't that what we called it, questing, right?
Yeah. In most games that had something like that. You would go on a quest in WoW, you would get the new cool item, you could wear it around town, it sounds good. What this actually hurts is it literally makes it so that there isn't as much to do in the game.
Right, because like killing the butcher the butcher's a bad example because he always drops the cleaver, but
yeah,
whatever, someone else who drops a special drop like once every 20 times.
You want to go there and you want to do it with your friends and you want to get your friends on to go play it because you want that item. Now you can just buy it. That literally takes content out of the game, essentially, because you're not going to do it as much because you don't care, because you could just spend $2 to buy it. And that $2 is probably worth your time, so you might actually do that. Cosmetic items and loot boxes are cancerous. Literally, they're eating away at games and breaking them down and diluting them and making them worse. Current games are worse
and you know
because
who's
of loot box
responsible?
systems.
If you've ever bought one, you're the problem.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Loot boxes are essentially tipping. I don't like tipping. I don't like loot boxes. I would rather pay more and buy the whole damn thing and be able to experience the whole game.
Okay.
I want to push harder. I want to get all my friends on. I want to fight and push that boss. In freaking, what is it called? The Raid, whatever, in Destiny 2. I did it once. Twice. One, we're already done. What? We cleared it like the first time I tried it? Mm-hmm. That's ridiculous. What happened to that? There's no like effort that has to go into games anymore. Not all games, I know, but a lot of them. Cuphead, great game. But then there's no, I don't really care about doing it again. There's no like special ship that I can get from there. There's no special sparrow that I can get from there.
Can I pitch something?
Sure.
Okay. One of the problems...
And I understand you're all going to hate me. It's okay.
They don't, actually.
Oh. Neat.
One of the problems that DLC solves, or that some kind of ongoing payment system solves, is the
server uptime and all that
the feast or famine nature of being a game developer. Where not every game can be Counter-Strike.
No.
And still be selling literally 20 years after it first comes out.
And that is a huge issue.
It's something very unpopular that I'd probably be better off just not saying at all. So, yeah, what happened was I accidentally bumped the machine, which seems to be causing it to blue screen right now for some reason. So it probably just needs to, like, take apart, reseat everything, put it back together. Anyway. So, I was hanging around with the Monolith guys.
Yeah.
A couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And what was interesting about their studio was that I was hanging around in a game studio for a game that, for our game studio that just released a game. Like, a 2-year effort game just launched, and there were still lots of people still employed, still with jobs. Okay, now hold on a second. Now you can think about this from the perspective of the individual, like the worker, okay, the artist or the programmer or whatever the case may be. Obviously, people prefer to have a steady flow of income and predictable employment with benefits, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And you could kind of go, well, you know what? They knew what they were signing up for in the game industry. Too bad for them. Okay, step back for a second. That may all be true. But what about the company? One of the biggest challenges as a company is attracting talent. Attracting and retaining good talent. If you want to have a chance in a highly competitive industry like the games industry, and you can see why this evolution is happening, you need to be able to offer employment packages to people that might include free lunches or super fancy $1,200 chairs, or whatever perks it is that elsewhere in the industry companies are offering. Or you are going to end up with no staff, the inability to make any game, let alone a good one, and you are going to go out of business. So effectively what's happening is, whether you agree or not, whether you like it or not, the fact that this business model works is turning anyone who doesn't adopt it into dinosaurs. And the problem is not the workers. If they have the option, and if you say that you wouldn't, you're either a liar or you're a unicorn, okay? If they have the option to take a job that will continue and gives them lots of benefits and that they can rely on getting up in the morning and going to, like, you know, think about someone like a composer, you know? Monolith has a dedicated composer who does the music for all their games. So what do they so they release the game and then it's just like, see ya. I guess you better go find some other music to compose. If he has the option to take the job that's see ya or the job that's continues, because he's composing music for cutscenes and DLCs and all that kind of stuff.
But I don't think anyone's upset with that.
No, what people are upset about is the fact that this culture of microtransactions exists, and that it's making it so that, okay, so you're saying they should just charge more for the game in the first place. But that still wouldn't solve the feast or famine problem. Because no business is going to forecast going, okay, we're going to charge $130 for our game, and then we're just going to keep everyone on staff and make no money and we'll just pay out of our coffers for like the year until we're like getting close to the next release, and then it's crunch time, and everyone will just kind of work that whole time. Like, that's not viable.
I think you could have, because I think DLC being planned for, because this is something that seems to trigger people, is DLC being planned for before the release. And
it's planned for before the release because that's the way that you avoid feast or famine, and that's the way that you provide people with a steady job.
And so, some people scream about that. Yep. They'll go, oh my god, you're releasing the game, you already have a release date for DLC, that's crazy, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I don't think that is hurting things. I'm not a huge fan. Of course, I would like every single thing in existence to be in the game when I buy it right away. Sure, whatever. But I don't think that is ultimately that terrible. What I would prefer they did was have a steady schedule of releases. So I actually like the concept of what Destiny's release idea is, which is DLCs over time. I bought Destiny 2. With the amount of stuff that I've done within Destiny 2, I am happy with my initial purchase of Destiny 2. I would like more, please, sir. I will buy your next DLC raid, and I will fight Osiris. That sounds good. That sounds like a good transaction. Thank you very much. I knew that was coming. Yeah. I'm happy to pay for it. I'm happy with my initial purchase. I'm sure I will be happy with the Osiris DLC. I am pissed off about the bright engrams. That's a separate thing entirely. And I wish that I had more to do in the game because I wish the bright engrams weren't there. I would have been happier to pay more for the DLC that's coming up, and I would have been happy to pay more for the initial game if the bright engrams were not in the game. All the content and items that are in the bright engrams were in the game, and there was mechanical processes to get those things.
Right.
So I'm totally okay with DLC. I loved the idea. One of my favorite things ever was the battle chests for Warcraft 3, where you get the game and the expansion. And if you went at the beginning and you bought the base game, then Frozen Throne comes out and you're like, oh my god, it's so good. That was awesome. It doesn't make as much sense anymore because while I love that model and I would prefer that model, it doesn't make as much sense anymore. It's a very difficult thing to pull off.
Something too that I think we're all forgetting is how pissed off we were about that model back when it first showed up with Brood War.
I wasn't.
Okay, a lot of people
a lot of people were.
A lot of people were pissed off that all of a sudden they had a copy of a game, StarCraft, that wasn't compatible in multiplayer with all their friends. And it was the same with Warcraft 3.
That's pretty poo. But a lot of studios have fixed that. You can have the multiplayer is on its own layer, and then single player is on its own layer. I do agree with that.
There's been trash at every stage, and we've been mad every time.
Yeah, I think this is a new tier of trash, in my opinion.
Probably.
I think
it's part of getting old.
Well, yeah, that's true, and I've thought about that too, though. But this is the first time that it's reduced the content that there is in a game.
Right. Okay.
That is there is actionable reasons why these cosmetic items, because there's no way you're going to look at a game like Destiny 2 that is extremely about what your character looks like and go, there really isn't that many cosmetic options. When you make Destiny 2, you would have made that game with a lot of cosmetic quests and weird things, maybe an option for this thing that's kind of tedious and annoying, and most people aren't going to do it. But then this one dude is going to go, know what, this is going to be my thing. I'm going to have the watermelon-colored armor that requires you to kill these one dudes a whole bunch for whatever reason, and no one else is going to do it, and everyone will look at me and think that I'm cool because I did it. That's content. That's being able to show up when you're in your buddy's fire team and he goes, oh wow, cool, you got that thing. You got the Hand of Ragnaros. You killed Rag so many times that you got the Hand of Ragnaros. That's amazing. That's super cool.
It does no damage, but it looks cool. Or
well, not directly lining up, but like there's
No, I know. My point is just like sometimes you go and you get a unique item just for the sake of having it, not because it's good. Either.
Yeah, the idea of transmogs. I was talking about this the other day. The idea of transmogs drives me crazy too. Transmog is the idea of being able to take an item and make it look like another item.
Oh, okay.
That, in my opinion, dilutes the idea of the original item.
Yeah.
And makes it easier for people to digest the idea of just paying money to look cool instead of playing the game to look cool. I think transmog is like the gateway drug of just paying money for something to look cool, because you can just make things look like whatever you want, and the game becomes less about actually working and getting the cool things. Yeah, I don't know.
So
There's situations in games like Destiny 2 and lots of other games where you can look at something like the raid or look at something like another piece of content and go, there should be more here. There should be another objective. There should be a side thing. There should be whatever, so that I can get this other item that should be in this game and probably is just hidden behind a paid box. And it sucks when that objective, that goal, that mission, that quest, that whatever is no longer in the game because someone probably thought about it. It might have even been there on a certain build of the game. And then someone else went, that's a cosmetic item. We can probably get away with putting that in a loot box. That makes me sad.
Elon Musk won a bet.
Yeah.
Original article from Ars Technica. He said he would finish the world's largest battery installation in 100 days or it was free. It has 100 megawatts capacity, a world record, and they finished it on time. 100 megawatt, 129 megawatt hour battery installation. So huge capacity and huge power delivery capability. And it's the largest megawatt rating for any grid-connected battery installation in the world. And one of the snarky asides in the article is that this may be the first time that Elon Musk has ever delivered anything on time, let alone early.
So you have to make him bet. That's what we figured out. Because apparently Musk said it would have cost Tesla $50 million or more if the company failed to meet the deadline. So I guess he was like, all right, sure, let's do it. That's pretty cool.
Oh,
I like
gosh. That. Pokémon Go creator raises $200 million ahead of a Harry Potter game launch. You're going to play it. Don't sigh. Don't even pretend to be like, oh, those silly people who are going to play a Harry Potter game. Shut up.
To be fair, I did drop off of Pokemon Go pretty quick.
Yeah, but that's not what I said. I said you're going to play this.
Yeah, probably. The biggest thing that annoys me about Niantic, whatever you want to call them, is that everything seems so half-assed. Like I used to play, what was it called? Ingress.
Yeah.
I used to play Ingress a lot back when not that many people played Ingress. I even played Ingress when the game hadn't released in South Korea.
I played Harry Potter.
So the only people playing it were travelers.
Harry Potter was cool. You're like,
and Edsel and I
you're a Pokemon Go hipster. That's sad.
Edsel and I had control of most of Seoul. It was pretty freaking cool. But I remember even playing that game. I was like, wow, this is really, I'm really just clicking the button and tapping it a bunch and nothing else really happens. It's all super randomized. There's really not a lot of substance to this game. Really cool concept though, so I'm going to keep trying. Hopefully they update it and hopefully it's cool. And then Pokemon Go came out and it was like, wow, they really just skinned the previous game. There's really not a lot going on here.
People apparently don't believe we're live because the time on the computer is wrong.
Oh. What is it?
It's the right time.
Wait, what? Yeah.
I don't know. They're just drunk. A lot of people don't understand that Canada's really big.
It's right. Yeah. I get that question all the time. What time is it in Canada? I'm just like, oh, man. That's not a thing.
Because you know what? You know what? Not making matters better.
We should just do it. We should have a Canada time zone.
Google is not helping, okay? Because if you Google what time is it in Canada,
oh my God,
you actually get. See, this is the problem with Eastern Canada is they really do think they are the only Canada.
Yeah.
So it's just like, I'm surprised it's not Toronto though. But yeah, they're just, what time is it? So that's our capital. That's what time it is in our capital. In not our capital, it is literally 3 hours earlier.
Yeah.
And then if you go further east, it gets literally an hour and a half later. Yes, that's right. We have 4.5 time zones. And that is without some island in the middle of the Pacific, America.
Yeah.
We don't even need that to have 4.5 time zones, okay?
Yeah.
What do they have in the States? 4, I think?
I'm not entirely
No,
sure.
I think Eastern is as Eastern as it goes. Yeah, Pacific to Eastern.
All right.
Because we have...
But
I
they
forget
have...
The other two are called.
Does Alaska reach out into another one?
Ooh, I'm not sure. It might.
Yeah.
I mean, does anyone count Alaska?
I do.
Yeah, if
I
you
have
want
friends...
free shipping on something, it's lower 48. I mean, they only count the lower 48, so why am I expected to count?
Which is obviously... I know people from Alaska that are great people. I know people from Alaska that are going to heal me when Classic WoW comes out, so I have to be nice to them.
Lordy. All right, so thanks, guys, for watching, and we will see you again next week. Same bat time, same bat channel.
What are we going to do about this?
We're going to slice them together somehow.
Oh, dear.
I will figure it out.
Alaska has its own time zone.
I still don't count it.
I do.
Nope.
Alaska should be part of Canada. I agree! We screwed that up pretty bad.
All right. Need to proceed. Savage Jerky and GFuel. Black Friday!